Brad, we've only really dealt in isolation with Group B, but which to you, if any, is the group of death? Because, for example, when you look down, there are some absolute crackers. You've got Group E featuring Spain and Germany, for heaven's sake. You've got some really entertaining groups like Group B we've touched upon, but we've also got Portugal and Uruguay lurking there in Group H. You've got Brazil, who you'd have to fancy up the Swiss, Serbia, and Cameroon down in Group G. But I tell you what, there are some absolute rippers here. Which is the toughest and the hardest to call group, would you say?
I'm just bringing up. I'm bringing them up right now so I can give you a live, because the thing is, there's injuries coming in all the time, and the squads are going to be. The squads are being announced like over the next coming days. So I think it's just not. I think the group with hold on, Spain, because Costa Rica is a really good team. Japan can cause problems,
and of course Germany. That's Group E: Spain, Germany, Costa Rica, Japan.
And Costa Rica will not be phased, by the way, by the conditions. And I don't think the Japanese will be phased too much by the conditions. I think the conditions could affect Germany the most out of all the teams. I think the Spanish will be used to a little bit warmer climates, and it was very similar to when the Germans played. I don't know if you remember '94 World Cup. They played against, I want to say it was South Korea, and they were up. It's either South Korea or Japan, but I think it was South Korea. They were up 3-0 at halftime, absolutely cruising. Ended up winning 3-2, and they looked like they were absolutely dead on their feet because they were playing in really hot, humid conditions. So that group, another outlier team, by the way, is in Group F, because you have Croatia and Belgium. I think people will think that they're just going to walk away with it. Canada's good.
Canada. I was about to say, surely you are going to talk to us about your neighbours, Canada, because actually you've jumped the gun a bit here, Brad, but in the best possible way. Because what I did want to ask you, one of many questions: which smaller country? People will be watching this bookmakers.com World Cup preview, and they'll be looking at the odds, and they'll be thinking, listen, we know that Brazil, Argentina, France, England, Spain, Germany are the obvious ones to talk about. But which smaller nations are poised to make an impact? Because you've mentioned Costa Rica, now you're mentioning Canada. A lot of the European audience wouldn't give these teams even a passing glance, and yet that's two immediately that you're giving us.
Yeah, I mean, you've named two there. The other nation that has really good players, sometimes on the final stage they don't put it together, but Poland, they can cause upsets. They have a really solid squad. But this Canadian team, so they were the best team in CONCACAF qualifying over here. They perform the best, they perform the most consistent, and that's being better than the US and Mexico.
So let me just drill this down, Brad, because we've so much ground to cover. But Group C: Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland. Poland, yes or no, good enough to qualify from Group C?
Yeah.
Group E: Spain, Germany, Japan, Costa Rica. Could Costa Rica really escape from Group E? That would mean dumping out one of Spain or Germany.
When I say unlikely, but possible. Yeah. They're good on they are technically very good. They're tenacious when they don't have the ball. And they are underdogs in each of the games that they're going to go into, and their media, the fans, social media, they're just going to back them. They're going to fight for them, and they're going to put very little pressure on the players, and they're better than some European nations will think they are.
Well, Brad, hold this thought, because just humor me once more, because the Canadians, they're in Group F with last time out finalists in 2018, Croatia, with Belgium. We keep hearing about their golden generation, and the Moroccans. Could Canada cause a stir and see one of those big names from Europe, Croatia or Belgium, heading home early?
They could, yeah. This Canadian team has some very, very good players playing at big European clubs, starting and being focal figures in MLS clubs. They have tenacity when defending. They have no problem playing, the ugly football if needed to see out games, but they have some really skillful players going forward. So yeah, I think when if you're Croatia looking at them and scouting them, I think when the draw was made, they probably, Croatia and Belgium would be like, oh, okay, fantastic, we have Canada. After they start scouting them, I'm not so sure how excited they'll be to be playing Canada.